your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
All right, coming up at 7, we're at that time of year. I got a number of rankings, okay? I've got a ranking for Texas Tech's wide receiver room. I've got a ranking for the quarterback room. And I got a ranking for fan loyalty, okay? Some you're going to like, one you're going to love, one you're going to go, I don't think that's right, and one you're going to go, I hope it's better than that. 6:45, we'll have This Day in Sports History.
The Morning Drive on Double T 97.3.
Hey, good morning.
One we're going to like.
Mm-hmm.
One we're going to go, I don't know, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
One we're going to hate. One we're to love, right? Those are the four.
Well,
you gave us three that we're going to look at.
It's listed off 4 things.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So are there 4 polls or are there only 3 options?
Three. One you're going to love, one you're not going to like, and one you're going to hope that's better than that.
We're going to have mixed emotions, is what he's saying.
That could be an acceptable answer, too.
Yeah.
I'd be okay with that as well.
I probably should have just, if I'd have used word economy, I should have said, coming up at 7, I've got a number of rankings. You're going to have mixed emotions when we talk about it. That would have been better.
That wouldn't be us, though.
It would not be us, though. We'll have Astros and the Cleveland Guardians today at 6:40 on 100.7 The Score. First place Houston Astros, I should say. And then we'll have the Texas Rangers playing at the Big A in Anaheim, taking on the Los Angeles Angels. It's funny, they still play in Anaheim, but they just call them the Los Angeles Angels now. But they still play in Anaheim. They didn't move the stadium. But they've gone from being the Los Angeles Angels. Originally, they were the Los Angeles Angels. Then they went to the California Angels. Then they went to the Anaheim Angels. Then they went to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim Angels. Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim Angels, yeah. And then now they're just the Los Angeles Angels.
I don't think they went from I don't think they ever went to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim Angels.
You don't think they went by that ever?
They were never 2-time Angels.
Los Angeles.
I mean,
Angels
they are
of Anaheim.
Angels of Anaheim.
And that was a thing.
Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, right?
Not Angels.
Angels of Anaheim. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, they are the Angels.
Yeah.
When you talk about the Los Angeles Angels.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, we'll have that game for you tonight at 8. Okay, balls and strikes at about 8:35 tonight from the Big A. Okay. So that hopefully they can have a better outing there than they had in San Diego this past weekend, where they lost 2 of 3. Speaking of the Cleveland Guardians, and I guess stupidity just kind of reigns sometimes in sports, but the Angels have a player now on the suspended list for gambling. His name is Luis Ortiz. They suspect him in gambling, and he's now on the suspended list. And apparently he placed bets on 2 specific pitches. And who knew? I guess you can bet on everything. Both pitches were the first of their respective innings. One that took place on June the 15th and one that took place on June the 27th. And I think he's probably facing some kind of suspension or maybe even lifetime ban. Just the stupidity of this just, I guess, escapes me, just because with today's technology and how easy it is to track it, him and the NBA guy, Malik Beasley, both kind of thrown away their careers for not much money.
It makes no sense. Like you said, the stupidity of it, it's just, I guess it speaks to it being a disease that you can't stop, I guess. I don't know. Is it like a fun little challenge to see if I can get away with this? Mm-hmm. Is it I'm going to go small here early to see if I can get away, and then I'll build up to something big? the reward is nowhere close to the risk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just, like you said, it makes no sense.
It just doesn't make any sense, but that's what he's dealing with right now.
He needs an interpreter.
He does. He does. He does. Kind of makes you wonder what's going on with Shohei Ohtani, right?
I don't know.
Or do we know what's going on there and we're just kind of looking the other way because he's the best player in baseball?
I tend to believe there was a little more smoke than was put on by Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And
I have no proof of that. But
somebody took the fall for him, and as a result, that guy will be in jail for a period of time, and he'll get released, and he'll live happily ever after because he'll be taken care of.
He'll be taken care of.
Yeah. What I don't know that there's, for me personally, especially at my age, there's no amount of money, like if you were to come to me and say, hey, I need to do this, but as a result of this, you're gonna spend a year in jail or 2 years in jail, but when you come out, you'll never have to worry in life again. I'm not willing to give up. I don't think 2 years
not have to worry, or you'll be loaded and I mean you'll be loaded and you won't have to worry. Would you give up a year or two of your life to sit in a 8x8 cell and get 3 squares a day and if I could set my family up for life,
mm-hmm.
My children and children's children, and I consider it for a year.
For a year.
Yeah, okay. For a year. I consider it.
Okay.
Doesn't seem like it would be that bad, right?
You wouldn't have to. I mean, especially if they put you in solitary confinement, that'd be like the best thing they could do to you, right?
Maybe when I came out, I would be like super talkative. I'd be a better co-host for you, Chuck.
No, you're just fine. You're just fine. Or maybe you could, if you could zoom it in, from jail.
That would make it interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
From the First United Bank
I
studio.
don't seem like the kind of guy that would survive in jail, though. Yeah.
See, I think you would. I don't know. I feel like Jeff and I would come out. I feel like I'll speak for myself, beaten and bruised, because I'd probably say the wrong thing, and I couldn't just continually talk myself out of it.
I think we all would be beaten and bruised. It's probably a rougher world than we really want to admit.
Yeah. I don't think you want to be. Do we get this? Jamie's willing to be a criminal. Yeah.
Did I have to break a law? I thought it was just go sit in a cell for a year and then you get like
for somebody
$50 million.
For somebody else.
Yeah.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
7/7/25. It is 6:45. Here's Jeff McGuire with this day in sports history.
Chuck can't wait for 2 years from now.
7/7/27.
Yeah, all those sevens. Look at all those sevens there.
Yeah.
Like that's like hitting the slot lottery right there.
We'll get big money then.
But we'll have to wait for that. 2014.
That's 3 years, man. I don't know. Or 2 years. It's 2 years. It's 2 years. Will seem like 3, but it'll be 2.
Baltimore Orioles on this day in 1914. Owner Jack Dunn was offered future baseball legends Babe Ruth. He offered future baseball legend Babe Ruth and Ernie Shore and Ben Egan for $10,000 to Connie Mack of the Philadelphia A's. He would refuse, pleading a lack of finance.
That's a lot of money in 1914.
It was, but also would have gotten 3 Hall of Famers for it. 1948.
Sounds like one guy needed to make payroll and one guy couldn't.
1948, Cleveland Indians signed 42-year-old veteran Negro League pitcher Satchel Paige. 1974, Milwaukee's Don Money sets a Major League Baseball record for consecutive errorless games at third base with 78 in a Brewers 8-5 win over the Twins.
I always loved it when Don Money played and they played against Dave Cash. Then the announcers would always go through the all Money team. You had the Penny guy and this
Andy
guy.
Penny and
Right.
Gavin Cash.
Evan Cash.
Yeah.
Bobby Nickel.
Yeah. There you go.
Tommy Dime.
You're just making them up.
Cecil Quarter. Or was it Cecil?
Cecil.
It was Cecil Quarter.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a Buck somewhere.
Yeah. Showalter.
Joe Buck was the announcer.
1986, American athlete Jackie Joyner Kersey sets a world heptathlon record of 7,148 points in the inaugural Goodwill Games at Moscow. And in 1992, in his second stint in Major League Baseball and his 20th total game, former Red Raider baseball player Donald Harris gets his first hit of the season in a 4-3 Rangers loss to the Brewers. It is National Chocolate Day, National Macaroni Day, and National Strawberry Sundae Day.
I learned something this weekend with regard to chocolate. The lucky lady bought, the shell stuff that you put on the ice cream.
Magic shell, yeah.
Magic shell. Do you like that, Jamie? The magic shell? Put it on.
No, I'm not really a fan of it.
So, a lot of times when you open something up, then you got to put it in the refrigerator.
Don't put that in the refrigerator. No. Bad plan.
I put that in the refrigerator. And
now you have a brick.
She said, "Did you put this in the refrigerator?" I said, "I sure did." She goes, "Why would you do that? Because it just turns hard." I'm like,
now you have a brick.
So she got it out of there, I think, in time.
That's good.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to one of Chuck's favorites. Ringo Starr turns 85.
Yeah.
Lisa Leslie, 53. Ralph Sampson, 65. Chase Claypool, 27. Nathaniel Lowe is 30. And Chuck Knobloch is 57.
Chuck Knobloch. I wonder if when he plays catch with his grandkids, if he can throw it over to, first base with them. Didn't he have a problem?
He did. That's why he got moved to left field.
With the yips.
Yeah.
And he was, I think he also a bad dude too, right?
I went to A&M, so, there's that.
There's that.
Yeah, that doesn't inherently make him bad, but it's not a step in the right direction.
That was just a joke.
I think he had some other challenges too.
He's a good, really, really good leadoff hitter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You look like you.
Did you say he was 57?
Knobloch, yes.
Yeah, 57.
And on this day, 1981, President Ronald Reagan. Let's try this again because he deserves a little more respect than that. President Ronald Reagan announces his intention to nominate Sandra Day O'Connor as an Arizona court appeals judge to be the first woman Supreme Court justice in U.S. history, pending her clearing FBI checks. On September 21st, the Senate unanimously approved her, appointing her to the nation's highest court, and she was sworn in on September 25th. And that is this day in sports history.
6:50 this morning here on the morning drive. Yeah, about 11 years ago, he was charged with assault of a family member again. That was his second time. He had also allegedly done that with his wife. So the Twins, who were going to induct him into their Hall of Fame, they canceled that. So there you go.
That's too bad.
Yeah. All right. Let's see this from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Good morning, guys. I know that sports is our escape, but would y'all mind asking folks to say a prayer for us here in Central Texas? Absolutely.
No doubt.
We've been pretty much devastated by the floods that happened over the weekend. Thanks, Syntex Inc. Our prayers are with you. Man, it's just tragic. Just tragic. You send your kids to camp and they don't come home, or you go on a family vacation and you don't come home, or you just in your home and you don't get to wake up the next day. It's just tragic beyond belief, and the devastation is just mind-boggling of what the power of that water did in just a few hours. Goodness. So, without a doubt, Syntex Inc., our prayers are with you. 6:51 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Thoughts, comments. Robert says that Jayhawk math you learned, Chuck. Remember, I had to take 002 math. My SAT wasn't quite up to snuff.
No,
But I did get an A in it. Okay,
That's good.
I did get an A in it. So just I do want to point that out. Let's see, Chuck, you wouldn't go to a country club prison. A country club prison, you function like a normal person, except that you are not allowed to leave the facility. Okay. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't
See, that's the part that would be worse for Chuck, because he would shake all the hands in like the first 3 days.
Yeah, get to know
then
everybody.
He would run out of hands to shake.
I'd get to know everybody. Then I'd go back and reintroduce myself to everybody. And say, we've already met. We've already met.
We met yesterday, Chuck, yes.
We met yesterday.
We were both here yesterday.
We were both here yesterday. 6:52. One thing that was really funny on Thursday, I had a meeting, and it took place at a coffee shop here in town. And the two things that connected are the two things that were wild about this particular coffee shop. It was in a part of town that was, I think a little loose.
Around the corner from his house?
No, it's a little loose. It wasn't around the corner from my house. There is one. But I noticed a guy outside just sitting on a bench and just casually, like he was just lighting up a cigarette, only it wasn't a cigarette. It was a joint. Right outside the door, just like bothering nobody. And then a Bible study group walked in and sat down at one of the tables, and they were having Bible study. And just a few feet outside, guys smoking a joint. It's just like, okay, that's the world we live in. Sometimes that the point A and point B aren't too far apart. Although that was I kind of enjoyed that, to be quite honest with you. It's kind of like, well, that's kind of interesting. Nobody's bothering anybody. He wasn't bothering anybody. They weren't bothering anybody.
It's good.
Yeah, so everybody was in their element, I guess. It was just kind of like, and the rain was coming down, and I was just drinking a cup of coffee. I had to explain to him at the coffee shop about, I don't know, 10 times. I just want a cup of coffee. Oh, sir, would you like that dark or light or no?
Well, those are types of coffee.
Yeah, as close to Folgers as you can get. That was that guy.
Roast.
That was close.
The word you're looking for is medium roast.
Medium roast. Okay, thank you.
And that says so, by the way, on the can of Folgers. So I get it, but they were asking how dark you want your coffee.
Just a cup of coffee.
You medium roast. That's your answer to that.
Medium roast. Okay.
They're trying to give you what you wanted.
And Vente is the large, right?
It's something.
Yeah.
So give me that cup.
Yeah, give me that.
I will agree. But medium is the word you're looking for.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3. Presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Thank you for being with us. If you're off this week, then good for you, especially if you're taking a vacation from work and not from us. If you took a vacation from us last week and you're back to work with us, then welcome back. And if you're headed out on vacation and you're going to take a vacation from us, then I understand. You can do that from time to time. Just, I need a little break from Chuck and Jamie. Or, man, I just can't get enough. I'm taking you with me to Zimbabwe. Okay? You can do that. You can listen to us on the Double T 97.3 mobile app. Of course, it's presented by Happy State Bank. Okay? If you so desire to take us with you wherever it is that you're going. Here's another list for you. My guess is if you finished this high of a ranking with this at this particular position, you might get the result that you're looking for. Okay, or you may say to me, I think you need to be a little bit higher with your ranking. Okay, this is the quarterback room. This particular article from USA Today lists Texas Tech as 4th in the Big 12.
No, it's fine.
Okay. Here's what they have to say. Senior quarterback Baron Morton could evolve into one of the best in the country this season. He started every game for the Red Raiders last year, becoming the first quarterback to do so since Patrick Mahomes in 2016. If he is fully recovered from off-season shoulder surgery, don't be surprised to see Morton leading the Big 12 in several passing categories. Do you think if he's 4th, let's just say you come out of the season, he's 4th, is that enough to get you into position to potentially play for a Big 12 championship?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, as far as his his work goes, yeah. Now, is your defense good, and is your wide receivers, not dropping passes all over the place and all that good stuff? But yeah, I think so.
Running backs doing what they need to do. Offensive line.
You don't need Baron Morton to be the best in the conference for you to be the best team in the conference.
Now, if he's 1, 2, or 3, then you're feeling really good about your chances to have a special season.
Yeah, I would include 4 in that mix.
Okay. Ahead of Texas Tech on this list is Baylor at 3, Sawyer Robertson. Number 2, TCU with Josh Hoover. And number 1 is Arizona State with their quarterback, Sam Leavitt. Do you think he's the consensus best quarterback in the Big 12 going into the season?
I don't know that he's the consensus one, but I think that he's probably the guy, because consensus means that everybody picks him, right?
Well, I mean, the overwhelming number.
Okay. Yeah, I would think... Okay, so maybe that would be okay then. I would think more people pick him than anybody else, but I don't think it's him head and shoulders above everybody else. Okay.
Do you agree with 2 and 3 with Josh Hoover and Sawyer Robertson?
I don't have a big gripe with them. I think Hoover's good. I think Sawyer Robertson's really good too. Yeah.
Okay, and then
I wouldn't have an issue putting Sawyer at number 1.
Okay, and do you think Barron at 4 is as high as he could go?
Nope. I think he could go higher.
No. I mean, in this going into the season, do you think he should? Do you think he's where he should be, or do you think he should be higher?
Oh no, I think that's fine where he is.
Where he is. Okay. Yeah. Behind him is Avery Johnson, whom you're not real high on.
Nope. He's super inconsistent.
Yeah.
Super inconsistent. I mean, he'll wow you at times, but he's also pretty pedestrian at times.
Yeah. Iowa State's Rocco Beck is at 6.
Who I think deserves to be in the conversation.
Yeah. Jalen Daniels, I think you would put him, he's with Kansas, he's at number 7.
When he's on, he's as good as anybody with his athleticism and his arm strength, all the above. I mean, he's got a high upside, but he's also, it feels like, got one of the lower floors too.
Well, then that was going to be what I was going to ask you. Would you kind of put him in the same category as Avery Johnson?
Yeah.
And then 8th on the list.
I would take Jalen Daniels
over
Avery Johnson.
Avery Johnson.
Yeah.
Okay. Cincinnati's quarterback is 8th, Brendan Sorsby. I'm not sure anybody could tell you his name.
Yeah, no, I think he's better than. I think he's solid.
Okay.
I think he's decent. I mean, I don't think he's a superstar, but I don't think he's bad. I think he's solid.
Okay. Colorado's going to have a quarterback battle. They've got a transfer from Liberty and a 5-star freshman.
Yeah, the Liberty guy is the one that everybody expects to have that job. And, I mean, he was good at Liberty, but let's see if he can be good in the Big 12.
Can you say Liberty without going, Liberty, 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 Liberty in your head?
I just did it.
Yeah, but did Liberty, Liberty go off in your head?
No.
Liberty, Liberty. Commercial? No?
Well, especially not that way.
I mean, like, the most shocking thing is that you do it, but you don't have the right rhythm to it.
Well, does that surprise you that I don't have the right rhythm to it?
It feels like it's, I mean, if it's in your head, it's in the right rhythm.
Way,
and
right.
your rhythm is...
I hear it in my head, right? I just don't say it right.
The song that Chuck usually that probably sings correctly the most is "You Don't Got Rhythm, You Don't Got Rhythm, You Don't Got Rhythm." He does have a style, so he gets that point.
Yeah.
He's got a style, yeah.
A style. A style. Okay. Well, at any rate, that's kind of how they see things. Let's see, the number 16 quarterback is Oklahoma State's.
That's not good.
No. He's a former 4-star recruit who transferred in from TCU, has yet to play a college snap, but Jamie is a true dual-threat quarterback who holds top-end speed. Yeah. Haas Henne.
Haas.
Hauss Hejny. And I'm hoping that I'm saying that right.
I'm thinking it's more Haney.
Okay, Haney.
I could be wrong.
Haas Haney. Okay.
I can't remember. I think it's more Haney, but I don't know.
And now BYU's quarterback is listed as number 15. He's the Western Michigan transfer, Trayson Bourget, along with Utah State transfer Micah Hillstead, and Stanford transfer Bear Bachmeier. Bachmeier appears to be the top option, but he would be a true freshman. Very inexperienced quarterback room now for BYU after Jake Ratzliff left.
He's a transfer from Stanford, yet he's a true freshman. How's that work?
I don't know.
Did you just go for Stanford for 15 minutes or something?
This is what the article says.
Was there for the weekend?
Cup of coffee. Medium roast, right, Jeff?
I don't know what he had. You were looking for medium roast.
Bachmeier would appear to be the top option, but he would only be a true freshman. Is a very inexperienced quarterback room. So maybe he was just there for a brief period of time. And then, although you feel like you go to Stanford, you're going for an education, not necessarily for sports. I mean, I realize that most places you're going for an education, but Stanford is, one of those places like where they're super serious. Right?
Yeah, I mean, but I think they have plenty. They've shown over the years they put out plenty of good athletes.
Right?
Nigel Kennedy, David Bailey.
Tiger Woods.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've been happy making them our little minor league team, minor league university.
Yes. All right. Got one more list for you, but before we do any of that, we'll maybe get to that at 8 o'clock. But I got something else at 8 o'clock I want to get your take on. But we've got plenty of time. We're here all week. Jamie's question of the day will be next at 7:25 this morning, and then we'll have the boom 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 at 7:45.
This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3. Presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, it's a very simple question for you guys today. It's actually one that's already been asked today.
Yeah.
All right, you get your moment with Joey McGuire tomorrow at Big 12 Media Days. What are you asking him?
What am I asking him? So I want to ask a question that would be realistically asked, not one that's like, okay, that you ask him if you're not standing right in front of him, kind of. I want to ask him the one that you're like, okay, if you're standing right in front of him and you're going to ask him a question, well, because sometimes people will go, well, I want to know why we didn't do this, and then you get up there in front of him and you go, wow, hey, coach.
We're not asking people this question.
I know.
We're asking you.
What if you're standing on the side of him?
Where'd you get that jacket?
Yeah.
Man, it always comes back to that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you would ask a different question if you were in person compared to if you were, like, say,
I just think
in
sometimes,
a phone interview with him?
I just think sometimes there's a bravado by people going, well, I'm going to ask him about this, and then you get in front of him and go, then you ask him some softball questions. So I'm trying to come up with a question that would just be realistic.
Second question of the day. I want your bravado question, too. So now I'm forcing you to answer both.
Okay, your bravado question. The bravado question is, how disappointed will you be, or excuse me, I think will it be a failure season if you don't make it to the Big 12 championship game? I think that's the bravado question. And then I think the true question is, you have said on several different occasions going into a season that you felt like that your offensive line was going to be the strength of your team. What position group would you say is the strength of your team, and how do you feel about your offensive line?
Real question. Coach, how much does it bother you that the perceived success Texas Tech will have this year is all due to just money and not the recruiting and coaching aspect that you bring to the program every single day? Bravado question. When the hell are we going to play defense in West Texas? I mean, you wanted bravado.
Okay. Bravado question. What else could you possibly need? What else could you possibly need?
You've got everything. You've got every toy in the Sears catalog.
Yeah. Yeah. What else could you possibly need?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. This is totally set up for you to succeed. What else could you possibly need?
An ice cream machine that spits out vanilla, and then another thing that just puts the hard shell on top of it. Maybe they've got one of those.
Yeah. Real question. How confident are you that Baron Morton will be 100% when the season starts?
Yeah. I think that's a good question.
Yeah.
Or when will you know that he's 100%?
I think he probably knows right now whether he's 100% or not. I imagine he's keeping pretty close tabs on that.
I'm sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I mean, sometimes it's when you make a certain throw or a certain cut, is when you know that.
What was Chuck's bravado question again? Because I'm now more intrigued by the bravado questions. I wouldn't have a problem asking my bravado question.
Will it be a failure season if you don't get to the Big 12 championship game?
Okay, I think those are easy. You could ask that question.
Yeah, that's an absolute question. No one needs to ask Mike bravado question at the press conference,
especially the way you asked it.
When the hell are you going to play defense? Now you sound like
there is no other way.
Some
to
guy
ask
behind me.
That bravado question, other than when the hell are we going to start playing defense in West Texas? And it is the question that had, especially after last year when you were ranked second to last, third to last in total defense last year in the country. I mean, there's a reason you got a new defensive coordinator. There's a reason you spent all this money on the defensive side of the ball. And Joey's answer will probably be something along the lines of, well, it better start this year with all the things that we have done with bringing in talent on the defensive side. But the bravado question that you would never ask in the press conference, as when I take interns or new employees to press conferences, people are going to say, well, next time you talk to that guy, you make sure you ask him why we're punting on fourth down all the time or why we're not ever punting on fourth down.
Why are we going for
I say it a different way, but we're on the radio.
3rd and 3, from our own 32.
Go for it on fourth down, or why we go for it. There's ways to ask questions to get the answer you're looking for without sounding like a complete jackwagon.
Maybe
when are we going to start playing defense on the South Plains is, a jackwagon way to say it.
Maybe another bravado question would be, are we going to see our punter kicker in the same game?
We're going to see a punter and a kicker in the same game, yes.
Right, but the same guy.
We're going to see him in the same game.
In the same game, the punter kicker.
In the same game.
Okay.
In the same game.
Fix that. Are we going to see him punt and kick in the same game?
Right, yeah, right.
Now, are we going to see him in the same game?
Yeah, right.
Hey, he will run out of that tunnel every single game.
Every time you see him, that means you would see him in the same game.
We're going to see him in the same game, right?
Punt and kick.
Punt and kick.
How about, are we ever going to see him?
Are we? How likely is it that we're going to use our punter kicker, the guy that can punt and kick, as a punter and a kicker in the same game?
That bravado question would be, who is our most overrated offseason signee?
When you walk into a press conference and you look across and see who all is there, who's the one guy you don't want to see there?
I don't think Coach McGuire would. I don't think he has beef with anybody.
No,
he doesn't hate answering questions. So
no, he doesn't. He enjoys answering questions. Mm-hmm. I think he excels in that too.
Do you guys ever remember him getting snippy in a press conference?
There was one snippiness because a question was asked about the injury report when he'd already answered the question about the injury report.
Yeah,
and I think that was there was no reason for the question to be asked, and I think Coach McGuire responded appropriately. And I don't think that'll get asked again in that manner.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Jamie Lent, Jeff McGuire, I'm Chuck Heinz. Hour 3 of 3. It's gone by quickly today. It is Monday. It is coming off of a 3-day weekend. So if you have anything you want to share from over the weekend, you certainly can. The Yates Flooring Center chat line is open for you. Visual Edge IT hotline 2, 806-771-0973. We come to you, Jamie, Jeff, and I, from the First United Bank studio. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to doublet973.com for that of the mobile app. All right, a couple things here from the chat line. This from Viva73, a friend of mine from Alton, Texas, a willow horse trainer in the thoroughbred industry, is married to a great-granddaughter of Sitting Bull. Huh. Nice.
Cool.
This seems like the Rangers must be 0-15 when they have a chance to get back to 500. Feels that way. They just cannot stand getting to 500. This, I agree that Christian Anderson can be our point guard. So do you guys think the basketball roster is complete? Well, when he met with the media before he left for Switzerland, Grant McCaslin made it quite clear that if they added somebody, that they were going to have to be a really good fit and the right mixture person, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, if they were going to add a 13th person to their roster. So I would tell you those things are never set until they're set. Mm-hmm. But it sure felt like that there was one person that they were going after, and I just don't know that that's going to happen. So at this point in time, 12 may be it, and you have no idea how much money they have left in their budget, which used to be we had to worry about scholarships. Now we have to worry about money. But it kind of feels like that 12 is where they're going to land, unless they added some kind of role player or somebody that would be a practice player or somebody that would be that really good fit at the end of the bench, so to speak.
Yeah, that seems unlikely.
It does.
Yeah.
It does seem unlikely. He still has some assistant coaching positions available, so that may be his next order of business to announce, because they've got just a couple on there right now, and they're a couple short. So, and he made that clear too, that those two people that would be coming in would have to be the right fit for them as well. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting how I don't think it's diminished, but I mean, it used to be when you lost an assistant coach, you had to go find okay, was that guy the recruiter or was that guy an X and O's guy? And now it feels like that those roles are more X and O's and maybe help with recruiting, so to speak, as opposed to, their primary emphasis being on recruiting.
Yep.
Because you got the GM for that in Kellen Buffington and his staff.
Yeah, and you can just focus on coaching them up.
And trying to,
They don't have to be, a big part of it doesn't have to be about their recruiting ability anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's different now.
Yeah. This interesting how UT is now dismissing that recruit tech flip. Did we make a mistake? No, I think they're talking about Felix Ojo. Look, anytime that somebody loses something to somebody, they're going to just, the easy thing to do is go, we really didn't want that account. That piece of business was, it's kind of a whorish deal, and so we let Bob down the street have it. That offensive lineman who's a 5-star, he's 5-star with an asterisk, his 40-time one. He could only do 50 225s in a row or something like that. People are always going to try to make themselves look better when they lose out on something. So I wouldn't pay any attention to that.
Yeah, no, I would not at all. I think he's a 5-star for a reason.
Yeah. Let's see. This is my first day back to work after being out on vacation all last week. Well, y'all wish me luck. Hey, good luck. Good luck. I hope, and I'm glad that you're back with us too. I don't know if you took last week off from us as well, but I mean, we're glad to have you here on the Yates Flooring. And if you're on vacation this week and you've taken us with you, then thank you. And if you feel like that we're part of your work process and you need a break from us, I get it, man. I understand. Do what you need to do. Right? Because sometimes people need a break from us, right?
I don't know.
Maybe not. Maybe so.
I don't know. That's for them to decide, I guess.
Yeah. I'm sure that you feel like sometimes you need a break from us.
If they need a break from us, why? I mean, I guess I would feel like we're bothering them so much, man. I would feel like, yeesh, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe not be as dialed in all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
8:07 this morning here on the morning drive. I'm not going to go into all this for you, but I was at women's basketball practice yesterday, and just a couple of things, a couple of nuances for the World University Games. Just a couple of rule things that Coach Gerlich went over. One is it's a 24-second shot clock, Jamie. Okay?
Okay.
So that, the pace of play will be faster. And the other thing is, if it's a turnover in the backcourt, it becomes a 14-second shot clock.
Okay.
Okay. And
Right, so no setting up the offense once you get a steal in the backcourt.
yeah, right. You got to put it up there. And the ball is a little bit different. The texture seems a little bit different, and it felt like it had more bounce to it when I bounced it. It felt like it had more, and it feels like it's just a little bit lighter. The women's basketball is smaller than the guys, but this particular ball felt like, man, it's got a lot of bounce in it. So,
Okay, so we've heard about the ball. Mm-hmm. We've heard about the new rules that they're practicing under.
Right.
How'd the team look?
I saw just a little bit of practice. I mean, they were getting up and down the floor. They've added a couple of players that they can take with them. One you'd love to have with you full time, but it's just not going to be possible. Deanna Gaston, who played at Texas and then at Auburn, she's going to join the Lady Raiders on this team, and then they have another player from West Texas A&M that will go because the international students can't participate as members of the Lady Raider team in the World University Games.
So there are two players that are our players playing for us?
Yeah.
Well, that's weird.
Yeah, because you have four that can't. And then we learned yesterday that Bailey Maupin she's getting ready to be cleared from her injury, and I'm not sure how she suffered this injury, but she's got a left foot injury that she's going to get released to be able to practice, but she's not going to play when they go to Germany. She's going to go with the team, but she's not going to play. But she'll be hopefully good to go by the time the season gets underway in November.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet973.com.